Before I get into what I'm going to be riding over today, I wanted to say a few words about idiocy, which every last one of us is more than capable of, irrespective of how intelligent we may be or how intelligent we think we may be. Every last one of us, without exception, is capable of doing really idiotic things. By way of example, I'd like to talk about my last 5 or 6 days and the, to my mind, extreme levels of total idiocy that I am capable of. All of the stories looking back are amusing now, but at the time they were annoying, frustrating, exasperating, all of these things. Here's the first idiotic thing that I did. Whilst I was out filming last week on Friday, I lost my microphone, this fella here. What a beautiful day. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I'm out all day today filming and riding and filming and riding. I've got a lot to talk about today. It's mid-November now, more or less. I think it's the 12th of November. It's an unseasonably pleasant day. Blue skies everywhere, as you can see. I'm about to put on the sunglasses, which I remembered to bring today. It will be the second time within a week that I've done the Honister Pass, and the reasons for that, which are largely due to my own idiocy, will become very clear as we go along. See you in a bit. I am having an entire day today filled with motorcycle happiness. The magnificent beast is running just fine. I'm exploring some places I have not been before, and I have a few tales to tell. Several of them to do with the depths of my own idiocy, which we'll come to shortly. And today, thus far, has been one of those days when everything just feels right. You've had those days. We've all had those days. It's kind of, everything becomes numinous. Now, I'm not a spiritual kind of person. I don't believe that there is anything to me but my mind and my body. I don't believe in anything after this life. Never have, never could. Wouldn't really want to anyway, but that's by the by. But that doesn't mean that we cannot have moments or even hours or days when we feel connected to everything around us, and that brings us an enormous sense of peace and harmony, and that is how I've been feeling for at least 3 hours now. So here I am riding through the mountains between Cockermouth and Keswick. Haven't been on this road before. The sat-nav fortuitously did not know that the road I was going to take across Clayton Moor was closed, and I ended up having to plot another route, and this is it. So I'm just somewhere I've not been before, which is always nice. I recognise the mountains. That's Skiddaw up there, by the way. The weather is absolutely gorgeous for the middle of November. It's not particularly cold. I did have the heated gloves on at around about 10 o'clock this morning, but they're really not necessary anymore. There is no prospect of any kind of rain whatsoever all day long. I've got about another 4 hours of daylight left, though now I can hear my viewers saying, "Hang on, mighty Guru Yogas, you did Honest to Pass a few days ago." And indeed I did. And I had thought that I got some really good footage of it. And it's quite possible that I did, given that the footage of Bottomere, which was the first part of the Honest to Pass trip, was pretty pleasing. Pretty pleasing. However, and this brings me on to the subject of idiocy. Idiocy in general, my own particular idiocy specifically. I have done a number of really, really idiotic things of late. And I don't mean starting a YouTube channel. I think that was one of my better ideas. So no, in the last 5 days alone, let me count, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, yep, the last 5 days alone, I have done at least 3 really idiotic things. I'll start at the beginning. Incidentally, the mountain over there that's really standing out is Cat Bells. I've been on the top of that several times. Back to the idiocy. So, I was out filming on Thursday. Bottomere, the Honest to Pass. And then I was going back home via Ambleside and then Coniston. And you will have seen this in the last video but one, I believe. Now then, for those who don't know, I tape my DJI Mic 2 to the inside of my helmet. I generally use gaffer tape or duct tape or, you know, heavy duty sticky tape for that task. I ran out toward the beginning of last week and found a huge number of reasons to put off making a 2-minute diversion to the hardware shop to buy some more. And so I thought, well, I've got some insulation tape, that'll do for now. And that's what I was doing. I was sticking my microphone to the inside of the helmet with insulation tape. Never again will I be doing that. To cut a very long story somewhat shorter, on the way back from my filming on Thursday, I stopped off at the bar where I'm currently cooking in order to find out what I needed to do, what I needed to order to be ready for the following day at work. Somewhere between arriving at the bar in Ambleside and arriving at home, my microphone had fallen out of the helmet because it was only held on by inferior tape. Well, the air turned blue. I was cussing myself, as I often do. And I thought, oh my me, I thought, I've lost my microphone. What a buffoon. That'll teach me to make a 2-minute diversion to buy the gaffer tape when I need it. Ooh. So, the following morning I'm sat at the laptop thinking about hitting the order button for a new DJI mic. Now, sometimes procrastination can be a good thing. I didn't hit that button. I decided I'd think about it. After all, I wasn't filming that day, and I do have my Tascam microphone with lavalier attachments. I thought I can make this last a little bit, and you know, I'll wait till payday and things like this. There's always some reason to not do something. Anyway, I'm riding to work later on the Friday morning, and I can hear the phone going off. I never ever answer the phone when I'm riding. It's just not something I do. And I thought to myself, I wonder who that is. Well, I had no idea. It could have been anybody. I arrived in Ambleside, parked up my motorcycle at the usual spot, and checked my phone. And there is a message from one of my colleagues, Gareth. Hello, Gareth. You lovable rogue, you. And he said, did you lose your microphone last night? Because I've just found one. It's on the kitchen shelf. I was delighted. When I caught up with him, he gave me the whole story. He'd apparently been walking through Ambleside with a friend, and his foot had kicked the microphone, which wasn't necessarily recognisable for what it was because it had got insulation tape wrapped all around it. He picked it up and said to his friend, "What is that?" And his friend had enough knowledge of cameras and microphones to say that's somebody's microphone. Now Gareth put two and two together, realised that he'd found it in precisely the place that I invariably park my motorcycle when I'm working in Ambleside, picked it up and left it on the kitchen shelf for me. Oh, the joy of it. He saved me 90 quid. I didn't have to wait for a new microphone to turn up. Everybody's happy. I'm going to buy him a drink. So that was pretty high level idiocy on my part. Should have gone out the moment I ran out of gaffer tape, duct tape, and bought some more. Didn't. Could have paid a £90 price for that. Ended up not having to do so. Yogurt idiocy number 2. And this is related to the same day of filming. You will by now have seen the Bottomere video. Pretty happy with the footage I was getting from that, and no reason to believe I've just missed my turning because I'm talking, but that's okay because I happen to know this bit of road and I can double back in a minute. So on Saturday morning I sat down to edit the Bottomere video, and I generally have a habit of leaving things too late. It's always last minute. It's like Douglas Adams once said of deadlines. He said, "I love deadlines." Left turn here just to correct my mistake. Yeah, Douglas Adams says, "I love deadlines. I love the whoosh they make as they go past." And I'm a little bit like that. Working on it, trying to be better. Not doing so great. Anyway, I had to wait for the video to upload to YouTube before I could leave and go to work. And that then meant that I didn't have as much time for getting to work as I wanted to have. I'm just going to double check this because I think the sat-nav has got it wrong. Though it's more likely to be me that's got it wrong. So the video uploaded, I closed the laptop down, went to work. But before I went to work, because I was planning on doing some filming on the way, I very quickly emptied the SD card, which at the time I thought was the SD card from the GoPro. It wasn't. And what I did in that moment of idiocy was to delete all of the footage from Honister Pass. And so that's why I'm going back to do the Honister Pass today, because I did have a fabulous sausage roll at the Honister Slate place, and I'm going to have another one today and get the footage. It's also, in fact, as it turns out, fortuitously again, that today is a far better day than Thursday was. There's very little wind, and so I'm quite optimistic about getting Tyrone the drone up in the air today for the heights to pass. So, having completely exposed my idiocy twice, I'm now going to do it a third time. I have a nasty habit of getting off the bike to do a bit of filming or maybe take some photographs and walking away from the bike leaving it turned on. Yeah, I know. And so yesterday morning, on my first day off for 5 days, I decided to go out and spend the day riding and filming. Unbeknownst to me, my battery was almost completely flat. And so I went from home, filled up the tank at the petrol station in Millham, bike wouldn't start. Fantastic. Got no tools with me. The Murgatroyd has the power surge pack in her car and she's gone to work. Stuffed or what? There is a hill, fairly steep hill, just by the garage. I tried rolling the bike down that for a bump start. Didn't work. And so I got to the bottom of the hill, put the bike on the side of the road and considered various strategies. I wasn't at this point stressed, worried, anxious in any way. I was just annoyed with myself. At that moment, while I was on the telephone about to call a taxi, a car pulls up beside me and I am hailed. "You are the mighty Guru Yogurt," said a voice from inside the car. And it turned out that the guy who pulled over to see if I needed any help was one of my subscribers, a guy who lives local to where I do and whose name is Chris. Hello Chris, how are you doing today? It was interesting to hear about your motorcycles yesterday. We should probably go out for a ride together at some point. I believe there's a local riding group, we could maybe hook up with them. Anyway, Chris lives not far from me. He rides a Benelli TRK 702, which, as you will know, is a bike that I'm considering purchasing next year. Although I'm now also considering one of these Vosges ones, as you also know. And he also is the owner of a Royal Enfield Super Meteor. So yeah, it'd be interesting to get a closer look at one of those. I have actually sat on one up in Dumfries in the middle of last year. But yeah, both are bikes that I am considering for not a replacement for the Magnificent Beast, that is unthinkable, but just a second bike. So yeah, hello Chris, there's your shout out that I promised you, and thanks for offering to help. We did, between us, try to bump start the motorcycle, didn't work. So I then called up a taxi, went back home, jumped in the van, drove the van back to the motorcycle, took out the battery, took the battery home, charged up the battery, and then called another taxi. So that was 12 quid in taxis. That was the price of that particular piece of yogurt idiocy. Hopefully, I will continue to live and learn. I have now started working on developing a habit which involves turning the motorcycle off the moment I stop, not with the kill switch, which I had been doing, but rather with the key itself. I do not want a flat battery again. I have now, because I don't know if that episode has damaged the battery in any way, got the power pack in my tank bag here, so if it does happen today, be fine. Stop recording.